Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of How Beginner Friendly Is, where I try out a brand new killer for the very first time, starting all the way from scratch. How challenging are they to master as a new player? How do they play when you don't have access to all the perks and add-ons? And most importantly, how fun are they to play? That's what we will try to find out in this series. But before we get into today's episode, let's go over the premises of this series one more time. Number 1. For the first 3 perk slots unlocked, I'm only going to use the killer's original perks. Number 2. For the last perk slot unlocked, I will only use perks that are universal to every killer. That means perks I have previously unlocked from, let's say, the shrine, is not usable in this context. Number 3. I'm starting at basically 0 blood points to get the most authentic experience. That means for the first match I will be starting with only 1 perk and absolutely no add-ons at all. Number 4. I will play a total of 10 matches with every killer. How many levels I gain on the way and the perks and add-ons that I get is out of my control, and if you would do the same as me, your experience would differ from mine. And number 5. I will not read up on any killer beforehand. I'm going in blind as best as I can. And today's killer is a killer I never ever thought I would get my hands on, but luckily I got my hands on a Stranger Things DLC key, and now, here we are. I am so excited about this. This will be a bit of a strange episode though, as his personal perks is now common perks that everyone can get, so I do know them pretty well from before, but let's just take a look at them anyway. The first perk is Fearmonger. When a survivor is repairing a generator, they are afflicted with the blindness and exhausted status effect, and this persists for a few seconds when they leave the generator. I've always liked this perk, and even though you very often choose other perks over this absolutely has its use. The second perk is Claustrophobia. When a generator is finished, all windows within a certain range is blocked for a number of seconds. I don't think I've ever used this perk, and in my personal opinion, I don't like it. I don't really see any good use of it. The last perk is Jolt. When you down a survivor, every generator within a certain radius explodes and starts regressing. And you know what? I really like this perk also. Mostly because sometimes I don't want to be kicking gens east and west, so this just does the job for me. I use this perk from time to time on other killers as well, so yeah, I like this one. The one thing I'm both excited for and nervous about is his power though. I have met Demogorgons before, but I've never actually given any thought to how he works, so let's take a look. His power is called Off the Abyss. When you press and hold the power button, you charge off the abyss. When fully charged, survivors within the proximity of a portal is revealed with Killer Instinct. Disclaimer though, I didn't know about this the entire evening, and I realized this now when I wrote the scripts. Oopsie. Other than that, he has 2 special abilities. The first one is Shred. When you charge off the abyss, you can lunge forward to hit survivors. The other ability is putting down portals that you can teleport through. When you set down a portal, it won't be visible to the survivors until you activate it by teleporting through it. And yeah, that is basically it. Though I have a lot of questions about this, but as always, we will find out bit for bit throughout the evening. And with that said, let's get this cute doggo into a match. And for the first match we are at Auto Haven Wreckers, and kinda like always, this won't be the last time this evening. So we started out with testing his powers, and I got quite a few revelations here. First, I didn't know the portals and Off the Abyss was 2 different buttons. It might not make sense, I would think that, but well, it is what it is. Another thing that surprised me was the fact that I had 6 portals. I don't know what I had expected, but it's nice to have so many portals at my disposal. Also, one thing that I noticed was that Demo felt so freaking big, so in the very beginning I struggled with striking survivors because I felt his arms were too big. And also, turning corners with this thick boy would be a struggle the entire evening. But that one is not on Demo, that one is on me. And as a final note, I have to say, holy crap, the shred is amazing to use. I love this dog. The match went actually pretty well. I got 3 kills and 1 lucky survivor escaped, so all in all, it was a really good first match. After the match we got a few add-ons, and even though I might not come back to them in this episode, I'll just take my time to say that I do like all of his add-ons a lot. Not because all of them are necessarily good, but because they have some sort of variety to the playstyle and you can use them for different builds and styles. I wish more killers had add-ons like this. Pyramid Head. And for our second game we are at RPD. Any other day with any other killer I would probably cry right now, but when thinking about it, this is probably a really good map for Demo. Lots of straight and small hallways, which is perfect for Shred, and your portals can give you access to teleport across the map since it's kind of big from one side to the other. It was a really tough match either way though, and I still wasn't that good with using the Shred, so I lost a lot of precious seconds missing with that one. We were down to 1 gen left and 3 survivors still standing, but in the end, this turned out to be a 4K. Well, we unlocked our second perk slot and I went with Fearmonger on this one. So let's just get into the third match. And we are back at Autohaven Wreckers. This time I struggled a lot more than the first time. The survivors did a good job. I don't think I had my head in this game and lacked some focus. I still missed a lot with Shred and maybe I used it too much. And also, I basically never used my portals. I don't know, I think it's too much for me to focus on right now, and yes, that probably makes it a lot more difficult to play this killer, at least to his full potential. But yeah, in the end, all survivors escaped, well, except Leon, who didn't want to leave. We had a debate about this case, but he won that one. And as for the fourth match, we are at the area of Crows. And I know I might sound negative now, coming from 2 Autohaven matches, but I hate this map. I hate this map with a burning passion. But this is a good map for Demo though. No. No, it isn't. I'll make it short. It sucked. I sucked. The map sucked. Next game, please. And that led us to Springwood. Well, this could be interesting. The map was a good one. It was a fairly balanced match, and one of my biggest problems still is that I rarely use my portals. I got 3 people killed and managed to close the hatch, and then I decided to actually use my teleport, and guess what? I teleported to the wrong portal, not the one next to the exit gate. But either way, I could have gotten Jake as well, but he just looked at me, and I looked at him, and well... And for the 6th game we are back at Autohaven Wreckers. Oh god. But to be fair, me struggling on this map is just my own fault. It's a big map and I barely use my portals to teleport, so I am the one to blame. But let's just make this a short one as the actual game was, since the generators were just flying I got 2 kills. Next. I unlocked my 3rd perk slot now, and I had to go with claustrophobia on this one. And now with 3 perks, let's get going. Next match awaits. This time we are in the Red Forest. This was a fairly okay game. I didn't do that well and I struggled a lot. It wasn't until endgame things got a bit chaotic and I had to play a bit mean with a little bit of slugging. The survivors did a good job though, and I tried to not get too greedy and ended up with 2 kills. Which I am satisfied with considering how hard this game was. And for the 8th game we are back at the area of crows.
No! God! No! God, please, no! 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 No!
No, just no. And for the 9th game we are at the backwater swamps. Not too much to talk about in this match, except for this person who decided to teabag right from the very start. And, well, this one had to die. And, well, they did. Like, who teabags Demi? He is the sweetest, cutest dog out there. That's just wrong, and the sentence for that is death. After this game I unlocked my last perk slot, and since I could only use common perks, I chose Noed for the last game. And for the last game we are at the Macmillan Estate. And to make it somewhat short, this was a rough game. The gens was flying, the survivors were good and I didn't perform well. Or, well, in all fairness. If I can look back at the match and think that I couldn't do that much different and I still lost, that just means the survivors were better than me, and I can absolutely accept that, and I don't mind losing those matches. Though this police officer refused to leave, and as I am a follower of the law, I had to do what I was being told. Thank you, officer. So, with 10 matches in the box, let's get to the verdict of this little doggo. After playing 10 matches, I first of all have to say I freaking love this killer. On one side, I'm just so happy I actually got my hands on this killer, seeing as I just started playing this game a few months ago, in which he was already gone from the game. But I did also have so much fun with him that I would absolutely consider maining him in the future. So yeah, the level of fun with this killer is sky high, but the real question is how beginner friendly is he? And I have to give him a 5 out of 10. His perks are pretty okay and useful in their own ways, but playing this killer with only these perks was a bit of a struggle, I won't lie. His shred is an amazing tool and the distance you can launch is really good. And it's not that hard to use either, though it will take some practice to know when and where to use it. His portals are also really useful, and I just need to consider the fact that I barely use them up against how useful they can be, and they can absolutely be of good use for good map pressure. But they might also be a bit challenging to master since the survivors can remove them and you need to be aware of that. I felt there were quite a few things the game doesn't tell you about his power though, so that would just come from learning the practical way, I guess. But all in all, I truly recommend this killer for those who have him. And with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time with a new killer. Whoop whoop!